Hi, everybody. Welcome to week one of Intro to Victim and Offender Mediation. I'm really looking forward to this class. And I'm really looking forward to, I have a bunch of return students, and that's always nice. But for those of you who have never had me before, I felt it was important for you to first see my video that I put out there on who I was and where I come from, and also what my expectations are. We all have expectations. I have expectations of you, and you have expectations of me. And I'm hoping that I fulfilled that for you and I help you with that. I will tell you some of the things you need to know on this class is that I will every single morning get up, and the first thing I will do is I will check to see if anything came in. And the last thing I do before I go to bed is I check to make sure if anybody needs anything. So if you need me in between those two times, my telephone number is 413-883-3537. Send me a text. And whatever it is, we'll figure it out. These are trying times, and I think we all need to be able to adjust. So I do want to go over a couple of the housekeeping rules. And so in doing that, I want to talk about work that's due in. And so we're going to go right to, well, we'll start with materials. Materials are in here. You have them. Whatever you need will be here. And then we have the course outlines that are being given to you as well. Always look at your syllabus. Always look at your rubric, because your rubric will tell you what I expect for you for grades. But these are my expectations for you. I expect you to be checking in multiple times per week. I expect your work to be in on time. But if your work is not in on time and you have a legitimate reason, you need to let me know beforehand and not after. I need to know before that. I should tell you that for the first class, you must have it in. If you don't have it in, the school will automatically drop you. So make sure your first week work is in on time or you will be dropped. So you're expected to be here. You're expected to get your work in on time. I'll go over that each and every week with a video of when it's due. It's always your discussion is due on Thursday by 11:59. And always your discussion and response is to your discussions are due that Saturday at 11:59. And your paper is due at 11:59. I will tell you that I will follow through on all what is expected of me, and that's also in here. I will give you additional resources. That's not, it's something that I really think is important to help you. Sometimes I have students that have a hard time finding additional information. That's one of the things I love to do. You have an issue, you can't find something, call me. I'll be glad to spend as much time as you want looking for whatever you need. And most importantly, I want you to enjoy this class. And that means I want you to learn something from it. Every class I teach, I take something away, and I hope that every class you take something away. I will take and look at each and one of your papers. Now, I will tell you some of the things that I really look at are content, your sources. You can never ever use Wikipedia. It's not, it's not a source that's allowed to be used. Your sources have to be legitimate sources, and Wikipedia is not a tested source. Your grades are in here as well, what's expected of grades, and policy and procedures. It's important to go through this and know what your attendance policy is. So, by the first Saturday of each session, you must be in. You must be engaged. You must have something in. Just know that. I have no control over that. The school will automatically drop you. So you know you're going to have an admin drop. Let's go to what the first week's going to be expected of you. The first week you're going to have, the overview is you're going to have this material that's given to you, crime and victimology, and you're going to have victimology past, present, and future. We're right actually in the middle of a wave of going towards more of working with a victim, and sometimes you have to define what a victim is. So I want you to make sure you read all of these, and your first week's discussion is going to be, do you think the victims movement has reached its full potential? And name 3 specific goals that the movement should strive for. I know what I think it should strive for, but I really want to know what you think it should strive for. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be sending you, first of all, to do this, you need to know what the victim movement is. So I'm going to be sending you this paper and I'll show you who it's, I'll be sending you this link so you can look it up, but you need to know the history of victimology in the United States. It's not that old. In fact, it only came on after I was born. I know some of you think I'm really old, but I'm not. At least I don't think I am. So one of the things I want you to do is read this and say, where did it come from? How has it evolved? Where's it going? One of the things I learned in my along the way was that when you looked at victims and you look at offenders, 86% of all women that are in prison, a study was shown, have been victims of domestic abuse or child abuse or sexual assault. 86% of women. That is astounding. And so you go from being a victim to an offender. I mean, that's how do we nip that in the bud before it even gets to where they become the offender? How do we take care of that issue? One of the things that has happened is we have victim compensation. Now, Massachusetts has had victim compensation for an awfully long time. And how do they get that money? Where does that money come from? Well, some of it's funded from the federal government and some of it's funded through the state government. But every time a person goes to court for anything, whether it be a motor vehicle violation or a simple shoplifting or any crime, there is a victim fee that's attached to that. And that fee then goes into the Victim Compensation Fund, and that fund is overseen by the state. And it's accessible to your victims. And I've had victims use it for therapy. I've had victims use it for medical expenses. So there is a victim compensation fee out there, and a lot of people don't even realize that it is there. So look at what your state has to offer. Now, I don't know where you're all from, but I do know that some of you are from Mass because I know who you are. From past classes, but look and see what your state offers. There's 33 states now that have victim compensation. So your discussion is different from any of since last semester they changed that. No longer is a word count of 250. What there is you have to do a discussion that has some meat to it, something that we can all look at and say, oh, I can address that. I can have a response to that. So I don't want you to put in there victim, a very short amount. You need to put a substantial amount in there. And it has to have some meat and potatoes to it. Don't you like the way I put that? The thing is, your discussion must be in. It must be in by Thursday at 11:59. If it comes in after 11:59 on a Thursday, I cannot accept it. But that does not mean that I can't accept your responses. What can get you 60% of that grade? So make sure, even if you didn't put your discussion and put your responses in. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you look at the rubric, it's going to tell you more than 3 responses. That's more than 3 responses. Now, I don't want you to say, hey, Johnny Jones, you did great there. I agree with you, and ended at that. Tell me what you agreed with. Tell me what you didn't agree with. Always be respectful. I don't always agree with people, right? But you'll never know that. But I may put in there an opposing view that I may not agree with in my own head. But I'm going to put it there so you can see there's another side to the story that some people believe. And we will always, as I said, be respectful on that. So that is, make sure your responses, it used to be, 50 words. It's no longer that. It's just put a response in that you feel either for or against, or, add something to it or don't add something. No, you have to add something, but, put something in there as sustenance, not just that, hey, you did a great job this week. But I do want you to do that too. I want you to be very supportive to everyone in your class. Our next one is, we're going to be doing a victimology versus criminology. So what is victimology and criminology? And so to do that, we first need to know what is victimology and what is criminology. And I'm going to send you this as well. And this is the history of victims' rights. And that might help you. But you also need to define, and you might want to look at that for your paper. You need to define what is victimology and what is criminology, and how do they differ and how do they collide. Make sure, and this is my thing that I am going to tell you is one of the downfalls for many, many students. Make sure that your paper is going to be at the very minimum 4 full pages. 4 full pages. So your paper needs to be 4 full pages, and it has to be APA style. You must cite your sources on the 5th page. In the first page, so you're going to have the first page is going to be your cover sheet. That doesn't count. The next 4 pages minimal, not 3.5, not 3 3/4. The next 4 to 5 pages will be your content. And then after that, you'll give us your sources. Remember, Wikipedia never counts. If you have any questions, you can always call me. If you have a hard time finding any sources, I'm going to send you these 2, and I might throw a couple more in because I like looking and seeing what's out there and how much fun it is to find them. So, if you have anything, let me know. Have a good week. Bye-bye.